What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning into Token Metrics TV. This is Jad, the quantitative analyst at Token Metrics. And now, since we're approaching the end of the year, we're approaching 2022, let's look back and see how Token Metrics Analytics performed throughout this year of 2021, which was a really mixed year. We had a very strong rally and then reached the top of the market in 2021, and then we had a period of drawdown, consolidation. So let's see how the analytics part of Token Metrics performed throughout this year in terms of the Token Metrics indices, in terms of good picks, in terms of how the TM grade performed, and the low frequency, high frequency trend indicators, and these type of things. So let's start off with looking at the holistic pictures of the Token Metrics indices and how they performed this year. So just a quick recap, the Token Metrics indices were launched on July 1st, 2021, leveraging the TM grade. So here in the table in front of us, we can see how what was the performance of these indices. And these indices on Token Metrics, we have a few criteria. One of them is high cap or low cap. Being high cap only takes coins that have a market cap above 50 million. Low caps takes a mix of high cap coins as well as coins below 50 million market cap. And then we have the rebalancing periods where daily, weekly, and monthly. So you guys should be aware now, since you guys have been following Token Metrics. But this is, in front of us, the performance of all the indices. So first of all, let's look at the first quadrant here for daily high cap indices. So we had two indices, the All Exchange and the Qcoin. Just yesterday, they were 500%, which would have been nice for today. But now they had a slight dip. So we had two indices out of these ones that almost did a 5x, which is still pretty good. And the performance of Bitcoin since the launch of our indices has been around 50%. So all the daily high cap portfolios beat Bitcoin by quite a lot, except the Coinbase exchange, which beat Bitcoin, but not too much. It did 86 or 87%. But overall, the daily high cap indices have been performing the best, and performance has been pretty good throughout all the different exchanges. Now, if we go to weekly, on average, weekly also performed extremely well. All of them beat Bitcoin. All of them were above 100%. So that's pretty good. But similarly, Qcoin did the best here as well. Compared to high cap, Qcoin did the best. Kraken came in second, other than the All Exchange, of course, and then Binance. And here it's similar. Kraken did very good. Binance did very good. Qcoin did the best. Now, if you look at the monthly, you're holding the same coins throughout the whole month. So it won't react as fast to changes in the TM grade. So it won't be as efficient from our research. But still, 2 out of these 6 underperformed Bitcoin. It's Coinbase and Kraken. All the rest perform better than Bitcoin, and Qcoin also the best. So here we can see the high cap for the exchanges we have currently on Token Metrics. Qcoin has been performing the best this year. Now for low cap, daily low caps, All Exchange performed very well. The other not so good, except Uniswap did pretty well for daily as well. Only Binance underperformed Bitcoin for the daily low caps. For the weekly low caps, all of them performed pretty good. Uniswap did the same as Bitcoin, but the rest overperformed Bitcoin. Now the monthly low cap are probably the most risky ones because you're holding for a whole month low cap tokens, and these low cap tokens, they usually have similar characteristic of like the big pump and the big dump. So when you're fixed holding low cap coins for a whole month, it could be very risky. And in this case here, since July up to today, the monthly low cap coins didn't perform very good. All of them underperformed Bitcoin, and we even had a negative return for the Qcoin. So this is the overall performance of the Token Metrics indices. Now let's go a bit deeper and dissect it to get a better idea on how the performance was. So first off, here I'm plotting all the daily high cap indices, and in red here, the dotted line is the Bitcoin performance. So Bitcoin, like I said, around 50% since the launch in July, and the rest of the indices daily performed extremely well. Notice Uniswap, where at some point it was down around 30 or 40%, but it caught up very, very well. And the best performer, like we saw, the All Exchange and Qcoin, with extremely good performances. And here you can see the statistics, like the cumulative return, as here it's in terms of profit. And then the average daily return, so day by day, what is the average return? All of them are positive, which is good. And Qcoin is 1% average daily, which is very, very good. And then we have Sharpe ratios, which are very, very good. All of them above Bitcoin. Max drawdown, which is the maximum loss at some point you were facing from a top to a bottom. And here, the worst one was 40% in Uniswap, which is probably in the beginning here, which is not very good, 40%. And Qcoin had a 28% drawdown, which is very acceptable given the performance, which was almost 5x total return. And then we can see the volatility of each one, where Qcoin had high volatility, but pretty low drawdown, hence a good Sharpe ratio, not as good as the old exchange because the old exchange had a lower volatility. All right, so this is daily high caps. Now let's look at day by day, how was the Qcoin performing since launch? So here we launched in July, and in green is the positive daily return, and red is the negative daily return. And here we can see day by day how was the performance. So first thing that strikes is that for Qcoin daily, we never had a daily loss exceeding 10%. Only around 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 times we had close to 10% losses, but we had gains that overweigh much more the losses. For Qcoin, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times we had daily returns above 10%, 2 times above 20%, and in 1 time we had a 40% daily increase, which is pretty good. And here in December, where it was a very tough condition on the market, we had some losses as well. All right, so now looking at the weekly high cap indices. Also, all of them outperformed Bitcoin, very good. Sharpe ratios are still pretty good. Qcoin had the best Sharpe ratio with a max drawdown of 30%, so acceptable. As you can see, we had a big pump and dump here. We had a huge rally recently in the Qcoin and Binance and the other exchanges as well. So let's look at what coins were in these indices that caused this huge gains in ROI recently. So here I'm looking at Qcoin, and I'm looking somewhere here, what caused this big returns. So here on December 13th, this was the weekly portfolio for Qcoin, and after December 20 up to today, this was the Qcoin portfolio index. And the weekly performance since today, last week up to today, what was the performance of the weekly indices? This has been it. And Qcoin did a 35% gain over last week, and all of the weekly indices had pretty good gains. Almost all of them had double-digit gains. Now looking at the Qcoin weekly, we can see that it had picked Polygon and Terra since December 13, and it held them. And this was the return caused by buying Luna and Polygon since December 13. We had Axia Coin. We held it for 1 week, and then we sold it in December 20, and it returned only 5%, but it's a very low volatility coin, so that's good. Meta Hero, we also only held it for 1 week, not a very good return, only 1%. Polka Starter had the least allocation, around 10%, had a pretty big loss, 16% loss. And then Aragon, where we picked it only in December 20, up to today, only a few days, it returned 45% already. Centivate, 7%, Safe Haven, 8%. So this was the Qcoin weekly. All right, now looking at the monthly high cap indices, 2 underperformed Bitcoin, the rest overperformed. Sharpe ratios are still pretty good, and same thing, Qcoin has a very, very good Sharpe ratio. But here the drawdowns for the monthly holding periods are much bigger than weekly or daily. And as you can see here, for the monthly, we can really see a huge pump and dump. So I dived a bit deeper to see what coin caused this thing. Now remember, this is monthly, so at this point in time, we picked the coins, and then we held them all the way till December. So at this point, we picked a coin, it did a huge performance, and then went down. So what was this coin? It was Rich Quack. If you were following Token Metrics, Rich Quack popped up in terms of TM grade. So here's a chart of the TM grade in blue compared to price in red, and the green lines are when this coin was picked in one of our indices. So first thing we can see, Rich Quack, the grade was around 90s throughout this time, and it got picked in our index when it was trading around 20 cents early in November. And when it got picked, 20 cents, it went all the way to 1.3 or 1.4. So it did already like a 6 or 7x, but the grade was still pretty high, and then it dumped. So that was what caused this huge pump and dump in these indices. All right, now looking at low caps, like I said, didn't perform as good as high caps, although the daily performed still not too bad. All of them outperformed Bitcoin. Sharp ratios are not as good, and obviously very high volatility because of low cap indices. Now looking at weekly low cap, sharp ratios not as good. Volatility is pretty high, that's why. But only one underperformed Bitcoin, the rest overperformed. Now, if we look at the monthly low cap, volatility very high, max drawdown very high. That's, like I said, this is the more risky type of index you can invest in. And since July up to now, it didn't perform well. High caps since July perform much better than low caps in this current market. And for the monthly, all of them underperform Bitcoin, with some of them having negative returns. So that's not very good. All right. So now we're still talking about the indices. Now I want to look at the TM grade. I want to celebrate some of our wins. And if you've been following us, you know for sure that we were very early on Solana, and we consider it as one of our very good picks. And if you've been watching the market update with Bill, has been pounding the table since exactly this date, since we've been seeing Solana around $30 being picked by our indices and having a good TM grade. We were very bullish on this coin. And here, like I said, blue is the TM grade, red is the price of that coin, and in green is when this coin was getting picked in our indices. So here, the first time Solana got picked in our indices was in end of July when it was trading around $30. And then throughout this entire rally, from $30 to $200, it was constantly being picked and allocated in our indices. So this is very good. One of our big wins this year at Token Metrics. And notice that it sold off Solana around maybe 170, not at the top around 200, but around 170. And during the dip, we didn't really see it in our indices anymore. So this is very good. And then another rally here from 200 up to 260. It was also being picked by our indices. So this is just one example of how TM grade helps pick coins and put them in our indices. And Solana is one of our wins. Now, we don't have wins without losses, so I don't want to talk only about wins. So I will share some of our losses after these picks. Another coin that was popping up a lot in our indices and had a very good performance based on TM grade is Engine Coin. So Engine Coin, first time it got picked in our indices was in July. It was trading between $1 to $1.3, and then consecutive rallies was being picked consecutively. And this is probably the biggest gains we took from Engine Coin in this rally as well as here. Although we still picked it after a few days of losses, but still we were able to capture this big rally for Engine Coin in our indices. Now, if you didn't use the indices, you would have still been able to participate in this big rally just by looking at the TM grade. So TM grade here was already around the 90s. It didn't get picked in our indices because the index is only picking 5 coins for the daily or weekly, so it's low probability of getting picked. And also you need to consider diversification and things like that. But still, very, very good performance based on TM grade and indices for Engine Coin. Another very good pick is Terra Luna. Since July, it got picked below $10, starting getting picked consecutively here throughout this whole time. And most recently, it's been popping up every single day since it was trading around $60 all the way up to 90 now. It was being picked every single day. So that's also one of the good picks of Token Metrics indices. Illuvium is also one of the biggest gains and the biggest wins for Token Metrics this year. Illuvium, we picked it, the TM indices picked it way below $100. And just look at this huge run up for Illuvium. So we picked it here below $100 in July. And then consecutively was always being allocated in our indices up to $500. And then it sold it at a very good time, honestly. But back here, not so good, but still we had some good positive returns. And this whole uptrend was constantly being picked because the TM grade was extremely high. It was in the 90s throughout this entire time. Sold it at a good time, and then bought back after the big rally. Noticed the TM grade for this specific rally was a bit late to capture it, so we were late to include it in our index, so we missed this big rally. And we were a bit late in selling it off. So we sold it somewhere here around $1,300. All right, so this is Illuvium, another very, very big win for TM indices. Axie Infinity, similar story. Very big win for us this year. Picked it at around $5, was starting getting picked in our indices. Already did 4x here, then sold it off. In this specific rally, we're a bit late. I would hope that we pick it here, but obviously no model is perfect. Although here it was a perfect time to buy, and this is where we allocated in our indices for Axie Infinity around $40. Went up straight to 60, 70, held it. Here, not so good. We allocated when it went down, so not very good. And here we were a bit late for the big rally. But here, in the downtrend and consolidation, that's a good sign. We didn't really pick this coin, so that's good. And in the drop, token metric TM grade was pretty low, so that helped us a lot. All right, now the big coin, obviously the biggest one, Bitcoin. How was the performance of TM grade compared to indices? So here we bought Bitcoin at a very, very good time. At the dip, it was at $30,000. So at the low, it started getting picked in our indices, and then consecutively in this good rally, we're picking it consecutively. So that's pretty good. Sold it off a bit late. But bought back here at a great time, around $40 all the way to 60, around 40K, sorry, all the way up to 60K. It was in our indices. And then here, not so good, but we sold it at a pretty good time. We didn't allocate anything to Bitcoin since it was around 62K. And now it started allocating way more to Bitcoin. You can see the TM grade popping up when it was around 48K. So this is the performance for Bitcoin. All right, so like I said, I'm celebrating the wins, but we also had some big losses in the Token Metrics indices based on TM grade. So Plex coin, if you've been with us at Token Metrics, it's been flashing up a very high TM grade throughout this entire time. And it was being picked all the time by our indices. And that was actually very, very good. Like we started picking it at around 70 cents. And it went all the way up to $2.4. So that was extremely well. But I'm considering it a big loss because I remember personally when it was around $2.4, it was in our index. And then just in one day, it had a huge drawdown here, like from here all the way down here. So you see the TM grade was still pretty high. And then when you had the first dump, the TM grade quickly went down. So we were able to exit it, but we still had around like a 30% loss in our for this coin that was in our indices. So I would consider it one of our losses because it was one of the biggest drawdowns for the Token Metrics indices. All right, so we discussed the Token Metrics indices and when they picked some coins based on TM grade. So talking about TM grade, I've also explained how we can use the TM grade for individual pair trading. So for example, you can log in on the ratings page, and whenever you see a TM grade going above 80, you can go long, and when you see the TM grade going below 40, you can go, or you can sell, or you can go short, up to you based on your risk aversion. But if you actually plot the signals and simulate the strategy, this is how the TM grade signals would have looked like on individual coins. So this is Bitcoin. So basically, at this point in time here, Bitcoin's grade went below 40, so we were bearish. We had a false signal here, TM grade went up, but then quickly went down, so we were able to see that our models were going bearish on Bitcoin at 50K. So you would, if you were just following the TM grade, you would have been able to sell at a good time for Bitcoin and then buy back at a good time and sell very good time at 60K in the most recent drawdown. So that's one example also of how using TM grade could give you some good gains and good insights. Another good example or a win using TM grade would be Binance, BNB, very good bullish sign all the way the entire rally and sold a very good time around 580 and then bought back at around $300. Now, like I said, nothing is perfect. No model is perfect. We're not going to give you the perfect models on token metrics. We're going to have some errors, some losses, like this false signal here for Binance. Decentraland, Mana, also very, very good to have been following purely on TM grade. First run up, captured it, sold the drawdown here, then bought back at a much better price. A few false signals here and there, but you bought at a perfect time for Mana. Below $1, below $1, and went up all the way up to 5 something. And now here, obviously, we would have wanted to sell a bit earlier, but the bearish signal came in quite late, 3.2. So not perfect, but still very good performance. KDA, Cadena, I personally didn't know anything about that coin until I started seeing it on flashing on TM grade. It had very high TM grade. And just by trading it based on TM grade, it would have been insane. It would have been really, really good. Below $1, the first time the grade went up above 80, and it stayed bullish all the way up to 25. Obviously, we would have wanted to sell somewhere here, but it's not perfect. Sold at $15, and now it's around 11 or 12 bucks. So that's also a pretty good win. And I know a lot of our customers were able to get in on Cadena based on the TM grade, so that's good. Now, one of the not losses, but one of the not so good performers based on TM grade, like I said, buying when above 80, selling when below 40, is Ethereum. Ethereum grade was a bit slow to react, especially during this big market top. Here, the grade was still extremely bullish for Ethereum. And the grade only went below 40 when Ethereum dropped all the way to 2,500. So that was not extremely good. We would have wanted a bearish signal way earlier. But still, we sold here. We would have been able to buy at a lower price. Here, also a false signal. And then the last signal was bearish around 4,100 for ETH. So this is an example of when the TM grade is not perfect, right? So I'm showing you examples of how it works well, but also I want to show you how sometimes it doesn't work well, right? All right. So now another feature on Token Metrics is the low frequency, high frequency trend indicator that is giving you bullish, bearish signal on individual coins based on momentum and the prevailing trend for that coin. So one of the big wins for this model was Luna, where you were able to sell at a very good time and buy back at around $5, where the first bullish signal came in. I remember this bearish signal was around 15 bucks. And then from $5, you were long the entire way up to $60. You got the bearish signal, and then up 65, bullish again, and now it's trading around $90. So Luna is one example of coins that performed extremely well just following the low frequency trend indicator. Another coin that performed well on this model is Polkadot. And I say performed well because you've been able to sell at pretty good times. I know a lot of analysts were very bullish on Polkadot, but sometimes you need to look at the quantitative aspect of it and the prevailing trend. And looking at the low frequency trend indicator, you would have gotten very good bearish signals for Polkadot. Like here around $30, then you buy back below 20. This would have been considered a false signal, but then you sold at $42. And then now it's trading below $30. So still very big savings and very good risk management for Polkadot using the low frequency trend indicator. Similar story for Cardano. Following the low frequency trend indicator, you would have gotten a very good bearish signal around above $2, and now it's trading much, much lower than that. All right. An example of a loss or a coin that didn't perform well using the low frequency trend indicator is AVAX. So Avalanche, as you can see here, first off, we had a very good bullish signal and held it all the way up. So we're part of the huge rally here. Here is where the issue was, when you had really big range, where you had big losses, then big gains, then big losses, big gains. You can see how these false signals would have hurt you because you were paying transaction costs here. And all of them were losses. Here you buy low, you sell low, buy high, sell low, buy higher, sell low, and buy higher again. But then the big bearish signal comes in at a very nice time. But if you were following it through this time, you would have lost confidence in this model. But then the big win signal comes in. So the nice thing about these losses, obviously not a lot of nice things to say here because they're losses, but they're very minimal compared to when it actually wins. So losses are small, and when it's actually a winner, it's very, very, very big. So that's one of the good sides about this model, and here is one of the bad sides about this model. But still, you would have sold the big dump, and you would have bought back at a very, very good time for AVAX. So think of this as a risk management strategy. Cut your losses short and let the winners run. All right, so this was a quick recap of the performance of the analytics part of Token Metrics. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you were able to benefit and make profit from these things that I showed you. I know a lot of our customers were able to benefit from that. So I hope you were too. If you're still not one of our customers, I hope it gives you a taste on what we're providing in terms of quantitative analysis. And I hope you understand good ways to leverage these quantitative insights for improving your trading and your investing portfolio. All right, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a very good year. I hope you had good health. I hope you spent some time with family, because this is really the most important things outside of crypto. And then in crypto, obviously, I hope you had a good year in terms of returns. And I hope you're preparing well for the coming year, where we're very excited for 2022 for crypto, and we're very excited for the improvements that will be coming in for Token Metrics. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.